BassResinator here. Welcome to FloraSphere. What am I talking about? Let me pull them down so you can see my flowers. Yeah, these are ones that I have grown. I got some sand still on there. Grew out in my garden, and Tracey from Mini Scenes GB has said, "Hey, I'd like to do some individual one-to-one collaborations. Anybody interested?" I said, "Yeah, I want to try." And she goes, "Okay, so what's the topic?" And I said, "Natural flora in a sphere. Welcome to the FloraSphere." Anyway, I'm going to be using I've got some molds here, and this one's got a little bit warped. I had it in a box with some other ones, and something was bumped up against it. Hopefully it'll work itself out. If I get to that one, I might not use that one. I may just use this one here and this little one. I may have to let that one sit. In fact, I'm looking at it now, and I'm going to let it percolate because I don't want what happened on the first round. What am I talking about? I filmed this, and I decided I want to use my giant 4-inch sphere mold. Looks pretty good, huh? I'm pulling it out, and I'm like, yeah, but look at the top. What is that? It's got this, it's like the sphere, and then it just has this lump. So that was going to be my FloraSphere. Not going to be. I got to redo. What happens when you run into a snag? On 4th down, you punt. No, I'm not going to punt. I'm going to just start over. Can we start the game again? Okay, so what I'm going to be using, even though these are not real large, I am going to be using a deep pour resin. Let me explain what these flowers are. Okay, first one is Plains Coreopsis. Really pretty. Looks like a daisy, but its cousin, either the Mexican hat or Mexican in a blanket or Indian in a blanket. So you can call it whatever you want. Doesn't matter, but we've got it. And then I have another flower that looks similar to the Plains Coreopsis. This is a gazania. Now, I don't know if you can see the edges, they were yellow. When it was blooming, it had a lot more yellow on the outside, but as it gets older, it goes more to this burnt umber color. And anyway, so that is that. And then I've got these things. I used one of these in a mini frog, and I called it The Who. Not The Who. The Who is a band. The Horton Hears a Who, because these are blossoms. I've got 4 of them. These are blossoms from this sensitive mimosa plant, and they call it a sensitive mimosa because it's got these little tiny leaflets on a leaf. I'm trying to do it. I can't do it. Anyway, like this. And if you touch them, they'll go and they'll fold up. So they're a sensitivity plant. They got feelings. They're sensitive. So I'm going to be using all 3 of those flowers in here. I don't want to. I've seen some people do flowers in spheres where they just mush a bunch of flowers in there. I don't want to do that. I want to have them all in here, but not squished. But I'm going to have it, I think, in a couple layers. So let's see if I can get it done. Okay, let me get the resin mixed up. Okay, I got the Bondcrafter deep pour mixed up, and I'm putting a little bit in this little cup. I already put it through the vacuum chamber. There were no bubbles until I just did that. Poured it from a distance. Now what I want to do is plunge these furry ones specifically so that they will start releasing bubbles now before I get them into the into the sphere. Now, they may look sort of like dandelion tops, but they're a lot more, they don't fall apart, because those are not seeds like on dandelions. Push the majority of the bubbles out. These are really cool looking things. Bright pink. They shrink about twice, so they were a lot larger when they were dry. I mean, when they were on the plant. Now, these guys also have all these fuzzy things. They'll need to be dipped to try and start easing the bubbles out. Because there's one thing about dried flowers. Even when you think you got them all, nope. Now, I think it was Steve McDonald showed this next little trick I'm going to do. On these other flowers that have, they are composite flowers. So this petal thing that we call a petal is one flower. That's a different type of flower. There's a couple different flowers on here. That's why it's called a composite. But those little ones in the middle will produce the bubblage. So a way to try and alleviate some of that is to put a little bit of UV resin on there. To cover up those areas. See that it's soaking right down into the flower itself. So if I can get those cured, they'll have less chance of releasing bubbles, which when you're preserving flowers, bubbles just don't cut it. Okay, so we'll set you aside. Well, not like that. Plains coreopsis. Now these were blooming, the gazanias are still blooming, but these Plains coreopsis are an early spring variety. The well, I told you the different common names for it, but the scientific name is Retibita columnifera. The Retibita columnifera are still blooming. So, but these are not. of these to do. Ooh, don't need more than that. Okay, now how do I do? Let me start pouring a little bit of this. I got this new mixer from Let's Resin, purchased it so that I could, it's easy to, because I've been mixing by hand all along and it gets tiring, you know. But this one, you just turn it on the speed you want. And let it go. And I set it for 4 minutes, came back and got it, and then put that whole thing in the vacuum chamber. Okay, now these guys. I want to put one of these in this small one. One of these Retibita columniferas. Now, get them all together. Should have done this beforehand and then stuck them on the stick. If I try and do that now, I'm going to have a major mess. And right now they're wanting to float up, so that means they got more air in them. Well, let me think about this. Will tape work? get these ends all tied together. Come on now. See, I knew that was going to happen. My glove is sticking to it better than the plant itself. So if I go, well, let me come back to you. Okay, I'm back. What I did was I ended up pulling all of them out, and I stuck the stems together with UV resin. While I was doing that, I also put one of those Reticula columnaris or columnifera into the small sphere, and I hooked on the stem with UV resin, so it's not going to move around, so it'll stay right in the center. Now with these guys, they're going to be deep, and I got to figure out how to get these. And they are, some of those little pink filament things are coming off. I'm wondering if, okay, I'm gonna make a big mess here. Oh, and I had a catastrophe. I went to try and remove the other Reticula columnifera, and it started losing its petals, so I'm not gonna worry about that one. I have a mixing pot, a little one, that I had UV resin in, and I was pouring, and I didn't realize that the UV light was on, and I got a cute little drop. Anyway, I can put those right here, and I can try and stick those onto these stems using UV. But getting these out, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. There is a little bit of a mess right there. Okay. For lack of a better thing, I'm putting some of this UV for bonding, which goes real quick. Put it right there. Make sure it stays, get a little bit more on here. And then flip this to this side. Let's try and stick the gazania on. I don't have to put all these flowers in. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Somebody name the composer for me. Can you do that? Or almost as good as name the piece. Hopefully this comes out looking really, really cool. But the deal on the collaboration is native fauna, native flora, native fauna. Better not put any native fauna in. Fauna being animals. Oh, I need to. I'll do that once I got it in there. Yay! 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 Now what I'm gonna do with this is that glove keeps. How does this glove slide off? I don't know, but it is trying to. Okay, now get some UV. You can see I've already used this stick as a UV holder in the past. Just put a little bit on there. Bring the flowers up to the area you want. Dip them so they're touching. Et voila. Now I'm going to put a little bit more on there just to make sure they don't go trying to break loose. Now the cool thing about this type of UV resin is it cures in like 5 seconds. So I've got that other flower I'm not going to put in, and I don't have room for it in this small one. I do have another small sphere mold. If I have enough resin, I will do that. Okay. Top this one up. Right there. Pour this onto the flower. Actually, let me go down the stem to try and reduce bubbles from taking place. The other thing to do is to just turn it on its side a little bit, because I can always reposition the flowers, because they are now attached to that stick. Now I am going to put some little stones down here on the bottom after it cures up, because they look really cool when the flowers are oh, that looks, from what I can see through the sides, this is going to be really cool looking. Flower, flower, flower. And then those pink fuzzies in the middle. Yes. Let's see. This is a little bit bigger one. Well, I've got enough with if I use the resin from there. May have enough. Won't have to use much from that. I may not have to use any at all. Okay, cool. Now I'll get another old stick. This one, actually, I'm going to stick it straight on the bottom. And then just, because it is going to have a tendency to want to flop off to the side. Ta-da. I love how fast that cures. And I see a dog hair on this stick. I gotta get that off before I put it in there. My dog's hairs are little, I don't know if you can see that. They're little wavy things. Cure that little bit that I put on there. And then it'll peel right off. Now with this, just got to be careful. Well, I didn't put that straight in the center. Crazy me. Now it's wanting to flop up in the air. I know what I can do. Put a little bit more resin on the end where it's not heavy enough. That's my counterweight. Seeing all kinds of hopefully little tips and tricks you can do with your flower preservation. Now the cool thing about spheres is they magnify the whatever's in there, so that flower is going to be larger than life. Now that bubble will pop on its own. Okay, then I am done here. Now we just gotta wait. Get that one under here so you can see it. Now, if I come back and these are not in the exact same spot, don't panic. I will have moved them so that once they start getting a little thicker, so that I can do another project. So don't panic. I don't know what flowers Tracey's going to be using. We'll see. This is a fun collaboration. Collaborations are a lot of fun anyway. This is not so much a contest as a fun participation. Still had a little bit left in there. Okay. And there's a bubble right there. Oh, it popped. Okay. Good. Now I can move this guy where I need him. Okay. We'll see ya when they're all cured. Bye. Well, these have cured up enough to where I can remove the support. So I want to get down, I want to trim that stem close as I can to the level of the resin. So go right down and I can peel that part off. Looks nice and clear in there. Now I will tell you this, they are not cured enough to pull them out of this mold, but they are cured to where I can go on to the next step, which is gonna be fun. Okay, so the next step is I'm adding a little bit of this glitter from Arteza, Neon Mint, and then I didn't have very much of any of these. Yellow glow in the dark from Let's Resin, yellow green, and gold. I used them all up. I needed some. So I've just mixed that in here. This is Bondcrafter 1:1. Now I don't want everything sinking, so I'm gonna do the Daniel Cooper trick. How's it look cool in there? And I'm going to use a couple drops of Elmer's glue, which prevents glitter from sinking. It thickens this up. It's going to become, okay, sorry. It's going to become the consistency of snot. 1, 2, 3, 4, because I have 40 milliliters in there. So we'll try that. And once I start mixing, you should see it glob up. I can already feel the difference. Oh my goodness. I've already mixed up the resin and the coloring in there, but now I'm adding that glue. Yep. Just like I said. Or what did they call that on Nickelodeon? Slime? It's got that. Yeah. You got children? You know exactly what this is. Sorry about the mental picture. Boy, it just oozes out. Ooze on down the road. Doom, doom, doom. Anybody ever seen The Wiz? It's The Wiz and he lives in Oz. I really liked that. Came out when I was in high school. Michael Jackson was the Scarecrow. It was the African-American version of The Wizard of Oz. That drip is just not happening. Go, go. There we go. This will cause a very cool effect on the bottom of this thing when you put it on a stand or you got it out wherever you're going to have it. And if you have it with light on it during the daytime, then at night it causes this glow up through the whole piece. It looks really cool. I did that with a dandelion fluff one time, and I still have about half of that left over, so I gotta find a little mold. Oh, okay. I think there's actually too much for this little mold, but this will be fun. The baby axolotl. I'm gonna have to help the resin into the, oh come on now, into those little gill flaps. And then it's going to need some going up into that tail. Because stuff doesn't like getting up in there. Okay. We'll see about filling this guy up now. Sure it gets all the way into those feet, toe area. Gobbledygloop. Well, I'll find something else and have some fun, and I'll see you for the demolding. See ya. Bye. Well, I'm back. Instead of showing you my struggle with unmolding the spheres, I already did those, and they're upside down, so you can't see what's going on yet. But this, I did have some extra of the glow in the dark. So I got a little axolotl and a treble clef and a matte baby frog. Those are the extras. Okay, now let's start with the little one. This is the Rotibita columnaris, or columnifera. Wow. Looking straight down on it's really kind of cool. Wait till I do the glow in the dark effect. I have not seen that, but I know it's going to be cool looking. Okay, so that one is there. Let's move this over here. This is the Plains Coreopsis. And like I said, that it, looking at it from the top, really magnifies. Okay, now, and these are native to here. Here is the last one. Bam. Oh, got some smudged on there. We've got the Gazania, Plains Coreopsis, and then the sensitive mimosa. That yellow underneath makes the glow in the dark. Okay. These came out really nice. There's some, those molds, I've used them many times, and I guess I got something scratched on there. Bummer. Well, I'll just have to buff it down. But that deep pour from Bondcrafter really works nice on this. Okay, get those out the way. Get these all centered. And let me zoom in a little bit more. Da-da-da. These are the extras can hang out on the sides. You know, they're just extras, you know. Now, let me do it with this. That's resin. UV light, so you can see the effect. Let me turn it this way for right now so they can get charged. And then I'll start turning off lights. And then I'll show you what they look like. I think they look... I have another piece that I did with a dandelion with kind of a bluish color underneath. Man, it looks cool. Okay, let me turn off that light. Whoa. And I have another light. I'll come right back to you. Okay, turn off that lamp. And now, look at that effect. So cool. Yeah. And from the side, you got it looking like this. But from over the top, man, that looks so slick. Okay, Tracy, let's see what you've got. I had fun doing these. If you are a subscriber of mine, thank you so very much. If you are not and you would like to be, all you got to do is go down to the bottom of this screen and click the subscribe button. And while you're there, click the bell icon, because that will notify you anytime I do something new. And if this channel does have channel memberships, if you would like to be a member, and it's a good thing, because there are definite benefits. There's two levels. There's the Bluebonnet level, which is $1.99, and the Indian Paintbrush, which is $2.99. So if you are interested in supporting the channel monetarily, click that join button. Okay, I will have some stills after this, and we'll see you for the next one. Stick around for Tracy's.